And we're back. Did you miss me? Of course you did. My name's Dusty Thompson, and we're reading my book, Almost Odis. Buy your copy on Amazon and subscribe below to get all the new updates for videos. If you're following along in the book, we are on page 224. The blog date is Saturday, December 22nd, 2012. Two girls, a dance, and a ham. Recently, I assisted a friend, Elisa, who is a teacher, by helping her chaperone a middle school winter formal at a private school in San Jose. I haven't spent much time around kids in this age bracket, 5th through the 8th grades, since I was a junior high boys Sunday school teacher before I fled Mississippi for Alaska in 2002. However, I look forward to this experience as I'm always curious about whether kids these days are much different than those in my day due to the many changes in society and technology. I am thankful I am not a teenager in this decade. For real, it's just nastiness abounding. There is far too much access to nasty, trashy stuff of which I was unaware in the veritable Mayberry where I grew up. You can accidentally come upon something naked in any number of places these days, including TV shows. Not in junior high, but towards the end of high school, we knew where the naked was, behind the counter at the truck stop, but we were unable to access it. I arrived early, as had been my routine since the infamous band picture debacle of 1986. I was late to the group photo and they had already arranged the trumpets on the first row, as trumpets are the coolest people in the band besides drummers. I, a trumpet player, had to go to the back row with the flutes and other instruments no one can hear during the performance. All apologies to Stacy, Paul, and other talented flautists I have known, but a flute and a marching band is almost as pointless unless there is some random Revolutionary War theme, and there usually isn't. Although I've been corrected by Stacy O'Quinn Kidd, hey Stacy, that indeed the flutes were instrumental in our James Bond theme show for Live and Let Die, and she is correct. As I was early that night, I could watch most of the kids arrive in their dress clothes, if that really is the term to use. It was an odd assortment of jeans with untucked dress shirts and clip-on ties for the boys, and party dresses with Chuck Taylor sneakers for the girls. Is that a thing now? At least some of the sneakers were sequined. Since the clothes had changed, I wondered if the social hierarchies were in place in California in 2012, as have been in place for decades in other locales like Mississippi or cable TV. I paid specific attention to those who seemed to be armed with posses, or whatever the plural of posse might be. There was one ponytailed young lady who seemed to have declared herself head decorator, as she had very strong opinions about balloon placement. I feel you, Balloon Girl. Balloon Girl, as I named her, seemed to be the queen bee until the arrival of another girl who I named Sparkly Skirt. She was wearing what I can only assume were her mother's clothes and shoes. Otherwise, she's not being raised right, y'all. For real. You should not put 3-inch heels on a girl in 6th grade. I don't care who you are. Balloon Girl and Sparkly Skirt eyed each other from across the room like it was a reality show. Apparently it was on. Color me intrigued. Sparkly Skirt started dancing with Johnny Mustache, he of the overly styled, barely visible, you could count them, there were 7 lip hair follicles, when he broke out his laptop. After one too many renditions of the weirdly popular Korean dance song, Gangnam Style, which everyone, including some of the more aggressive teacher spouses, seemed to know the apparent required choreography, Johnny Mustache was replaced by aggressive girl in high tops with her trusty iPod. I am not ashamed to admit that she and I shared many dance favorites. Okay, I'm a little ashamed, but the music was only the background for the drama unfolding. When the room became entranced upon Sparkly Skirt's entrance, Balloon Girl started dancing while playing slow-motion volleyball with the balloons. Never has power shifted so quickly outside of a South American country as all the children followed suit. As far as I was concerned, it was going along pretty well, and I was introduced to the teachers, not realizing my appearance as the friend of the single teacher was the juiciest thing that had happened there in quite some time. Feeling as if all eyes were upon me, I texted my sister, also a teacher, and she confirmed I was not being paranoid, and that at that very moment, each and every one of the whispered conversations were in fact about me, specifically the level of my relationship with the single teacher, which would have enticed me to accompany her to such an event. The announcement of the voting for the winter formal court caused a ruckus that refocused everyone's attention, including mine. Never in my life have I felt relief to no longer be the center of attention. And speaking of me, I found my tiny doppelganger. Wearing the same Gap-approved uniform of his classmates, he seemed to be the only boy with any semblance of rhythm. He would dance with abandon as if no one was watching. However, he was definitely aware of everyone's placement as he halted his moves if no one was looking and traveled nearest whichever queen bee the crowd was surrounding and started dancing again to ensure the largest audience. "Oh, sit down, Dusty Jr.," I laughed to myself. While we waited for the votes to be counted, we were distracted by a new drama unfolding just outside the entrance where Johnny Mustache was apprehended trying to sneak off with his girlfriend who, only after I caught sight of her, was summarily nicknamed Invisijustice as she had somehow escaped my notice while wearing a hot pink and black floral dress from the tween clothier I loathe. How do I know her dress came from Justice? Well, let's just say they've been selling that very dress for quite some time since I bought it for my niece Peyton in 2006. And I really do hate Justice. I hope they go bankrupt during this crisis. Because I'm really sad Stein Mart is going bankrupt and so is Brooks Brothers. I don't know what I'm going to be wearing for the foreseeable future. No new clothes in my future, which Ben will be happy about, but it's going to be sad. My fans are going to be disappointed. I'm wearing the same shirt. See, I've worn this 4 videos so far. It's sad, y'all. Mr. Mustache, when he was denied whatever nefarious activity he had planned, was furious and refused to re-enter the gym, believing to the very depths of his almost teenage soul that we did not have his best interests at heart. This sounds just like the dad who does not believe I have his best interests at heart. He feels I purposefully keep some of his wishes unfulfilled. Over the past few weeks, he had asked me to find what he calls his favorite lunch meat. I have tried to explain to him they don't have this type of meat product anywhere outside of a 6-foot radius of Bethany, Louisiana. Population 1,100 if you count individual cans of beer at the Quickie Mart. But he will not take no for an answer, even when said with considerable disdain. I have looked for what he described, but I feel as if he is accidentally combining the traits of several of his favorite foods, vile though they may be. The description was something akin to a thinly sliced potted meat spam hybrid. As my friend Dawn from Memphis would say, ooh to the wee. I had attempted to provide him actual deli ham, thinking I was splurging on something he would prefer to this luncheon loaf. I was wrong. He told me he would eat it, I reckon, but I don't like it that much. Assuming he would just give up and find another item over which to hyper-focus, I was surprised to see that he apparently ventured out of the yard for the first time in almost 5 months. Never underestimate a redneck on a mission. I returned from my recent trip to D.C. to find he had braved imminent death to cross the street to the Supermercado y Taqueria to ensure no stone had been left unturned in the search for his favorite protein. I found his butcher-papered bounty was labeled jamon. When I asked what he was eating, he haughtily replied, "Found my lunch meat at the Mexican grocery store, and you said they didn't have it." I smiled and said, "You realize jamon is Spanish for ham, right?" I believe the correct spelling of his reaction was followed by the dismissive smacking of lips and the judgmental clicking of false teeth. And we will leave it there and see you next time. Thanks.